Firstly, and most importantly, it's my job to thank you for taking the time to come this evening and listen to all the presentations, and also to thank Turner Pope and Vox Markets for putting this event on. So, why Toople and what is Toople? My name is Andy Hollingworth. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Toople. We entered the stock market on a standard list May 2016. What do we do? Well, we are a specialist telecoms business for the UK small business market. And when I say the UK small business market, that is typically companies in the UK that have got less than 50 employees. Why that particular part of the market? And I'll go through the market opportunity through the slide deck later on, but it's the biggest part of the market. Believe it or not, there are some 5.5 million UK small businesses, of which over 90% of those small businesses actually have less than 10 employees. What do we do and why do we do it? We do it simply because we believe that there's a space in the market, and I'll show you the market share as we go through it, for a player in the market that actually simplifies telecoms for the small business market. This is now like a utility to small businesses, and it must work. But it's complicated, people don't understand it, and the pricing is extremely variable. It's contract-led, so that's one of the great things about Toople, is that we are a real business. When we tell you we sign customers up for a 12, mostly 24-month period, and mostly 36-month period on our cloud-based telephony business. And they pay us money every single month, and we make margin every single month. Our services that we bring to the market through the small businesses are very simple. We take care of the connectivity into the business. So we are looking at putting the best kind of data connectivity into the business. That's really important. The market is changing, and I'll take you through some regulatory changes as we go through on why the best speed, the best coverage, and the best quality is really important to a small business. And then we take care of the mobility side, so that when you're away from the business, the power of the contract and the quality and the services in the SIM card in the mobile phone. You know, who cares whether you want an iPhone, whether you want a Samsung Edge 7, Edge 8, Edge 9, whatever the next one is, or the latest iPhone X. You can get those, and actually you're probably best not to get those from Toople or from any others. You're probably best to get those direct from Apple, because you go on the Apple store directly and you can get them all on interest-free, and you can even pay a monthly plan where you get a brand new handset every 12 months, fully refreshed, included in your price. So we don't play in that market. And then the emerging market, and the biggest growth market probably over the next 10 years, is the cloud-based market. So the cloud-based market, where traditionally small businesses have their old office phone systems that are linked to all the copper wire, that is significantly changing now into the cloud-based hosted market, so that basically any office phone on the desk is actually linked to the internet connection, and all the calls go across VoIP. The UK, in the last 24 months, is the second fastest growing player in Europe, closely behind the Netherlands. The USA adopted cloud many, many years ago, and every single telephony system that is in businesses in there is typically on a VoIP-based network, but we were slow to catch on. Last year alone, there was a growth in the UK market of over 1 million VoIP-based seats. So one thing you'll know when I present to you, and some of you I presented to you, I think it was last summer, I don't stick to my slides very often. And that's much to the frustration of the guys that present the slides and do it all for me. But we have, as a business, 2 core channels to market. That is our direct approach to market, where we are making sure that the small businesses in the UK see Toople over 1 million times a month through digital first activity. That's not digital only, but digital first. It's the most cost-effective way of reaching that market. The last thing you want as an investor is for me to go and spend millions of pounds on radio, TV, billboard advertising in train stations, because you just can't track a return. But I can spend £500 a day on something like Facebook and get 25 inquiries from small businesses and more. You know, we spent £500 on Saturday, and we had 35 inquiries from small businesses that have filled a form in and said, yes, we want this service. And before I came in here today, our sales team based up in the Northwest in Warrington, out of those inquiries, had already sold 23. small businesses that have joined the company. So, and we monitor it very, very carefully. So if I spend £500 a day of your money and of my money, then I work that absolutely down to what is the cost of acquisition per customer. Because at the end of the day, that can't go greater than what we will make in margin over the contract period of that customer. And actually, you want it substantially less than the margin that you make. So typically, we never, ever, ever produce any kind of digital activity that results in more than £90 per customer as a cost. Because over a 2-year period, a small business is typically worth about £250 worth of gross margin. So I own 28 million shares in this business. I spend the money as if it's my own, and so does the leadership team spend the money as if it's their own. Is that a good return? £90 for £250? Yes, I think so. So that's what we do. We make sure that over 1 million small businesses see our Toople brand and Toople proposition every single month. We then have another side of our business, which is the wholesale side of our business. My background is 12.5 years with the Toople Group, and before that with what was one of the biggest growth areas of the mobile networks, which was Orange. I know the market very, very, very well, and I know the cost bases from all the carriers very, very well. Having led a wholesale division at Toople that resulted in growth from 50 million to 280 million in turnover over a 6-year period, I literally understand the cost base. We buy at Toople very, very well. When you look at some of the big players in the market, and some would say what were listed people are now independent people like Daisy, my cost base that I'm buying broadband, I'm buying mobile SIMs, is equivalent to Daisy. And Daisy turnover somewhere in the region of around about £700 million a year. So we can then be disruptive with our propositions as well. Just because we're small doesn't mean that we can't be disruptive in our price-led proposition. And everything is underpinned within the business so that our software platform we can access directly for our customers, our direct customers, but also our wholesale partners. And you'll see that 2018 so far has been quite a robust year for the business. So far we have launched, I'll go back slightly, so far we've launched 8 new significant contract wins via news flow in the market. Most recently, we went out with an RNS last week that confirmed that we have 9 new wholesale partners. All of those wholesale partners literally plug into our software platform, and literally they can take services for their customers in the same way that Toople do in their own markets. And I'll go through the software platform a little later on. Also, we signed a £3.5 million contract with another wholesale partner that I've known for 15 years, completely fed up with British Telecom, with BT, and is moving all of his hosted VoIP services over the next 3 years across to the Toople platform. And I think hopefully there'll be some more good news on that particular contract win in the coming weeks and months. And we've just gone through a very, very successful placing. As a board, we believe that this is our final placing. We raised gross £2.2 million. I hear many of you that are already in Toople saying an excessive discount. You're right. It's not exactly the discount that I wanted to see as a significant shareholder, but importantly, it gave us the operating cash flow to see the business through to cash flow generation. And the board believed that we should be able to achieve that in certainly much, much quicker than in under a 2-year period. So the business is now well structured financially. We appointed a new CFO in the last 2 months who brings a great pedigree from a PLC point of view through organic and acquisitional activity as well. So Toople is in a very, very good place. The pipeline for more contract wins, I'm quite confident in. But more importantly, one of the things when you put a contract win in the market, number one, is it material? Yes. And number two, do you deliver it? All of the contract wins that we have posted out in 2018 are already starting to deliver revenue. So I'm quite comfortable in terms of what we put in the market. You can trust our news flow. You can trust exactly what we say and what it will deliver. And if anything, as a CEO and a leadership team, we sort of undercall the value a little bit to make sure that we're going to under-promise and over-deliver. That has to be the mantra for us as a business. So, as I said, we have a business model that works in 2 particular ways. We have the retail model that is very simply putting on as many direct customers as we can that all sign 24 months, all sign 36-month contracts, and then we have the wholesale side of the business. Typically, the retail side of the business that is taking, those customers can very simply take a simple broadband line, whether it be fibre, whether it be based on copper, or they can take SIM cards, or they can take cloud-based telephony. They particularly produce about a 30% gross margin. As somebody said to me before we came in here, your gross margins actually through your public figures are quite low. Yes, they are, because the revenue 6 months ago is too skewed towards the wholesale side, which the wholesale side produces about a 10% gross margin. And typically, pre-market entry through our original founder actually was producing a lot less margin than that. We're moving, as we start landing the contract wins, we're moving that margin out of the business and bringing wholesale margin in that makes a minimum of 10% gross margin. 9 new contracts signed in the last, literally in the last 6 weeks on the wholesale side of the business at a minimum of 10% gross margin. The real key to why Toople will be successful going forwards is the Merlin software platform that we own the IPR for. And I'll try and quickly forward to a slide that literally shows you what happens with Merlin. And we have a team of 4 people out in Poland that literally are employed people that literally manage the software platform. That interconnects with all of the UK carriers. And it's called an API interface, which is just a literally computer programming interface straight into BT Wholesale, BT Openreach, the TalkTalk Group, Vodafone, O2. So what happens is, whether it's a customer or whether it's a wholesaler, within milliseconds, they can put in their customer details, whether it be a telephone number or whether it be a postcode, and Merlin within milliseconds will work out their location and the best carrier of choice for them. The customer knows nothing as to whether they're on the TalkTalk network, the Vodafone network, or the BT network. All we give them is the confidence that whatever we provision them to, then it will be the best one that's in their location. This is very akin to the way Sir Charles Dunstan set up Carphone Warehouse all those years ago, when he said, we're going to be the honest broker on the high street, we're going to be carrier agnostic. So when you come in here, you can get Vodafone, you can get O2, you can get T-Mobile, and we will be the honest independent. Whereas if you walk into BT and you want broadband from BT, you're only on the BT network, God forbid. Whereas if you're with Toople, we'll take the decision, and Merlin will take the decision within milliseconds, whether it is BT, whether it's TalkTalk, whether it's Vodafone, whether it's the O2 network, or whether it's BroadCloud on the hosted side of the system. Now, what that means is our business is as highly automated as it can be. And what that means is that we won't be a business that is limited by customer growth because we've got to keep adding headcount into the business. Because the minute that a customer goes online and places an order online, or one of our sales agents up in the Northwest Sales Centre takes an order, as soon as that order's put into Merlin, everything is skewed and spurted straight off to all the different carriers. Therefore, you've not got provisioning teams and you've not got staff. Therefore, as a business, we can probably grow exponentially 20, 30, 40 times bigger than what we are today without actually having to add any heads into the business. And that really is a key asset in terms of Merlin. The other thing that you'll see that we haven't actually monetized and capitalized Merlin yet in our balance sheets. And we'll do this as we've just finished our end of financial year. We'll start to capitalize Merlin as a value in our balance sheets as well. Growth is exponential. I was just looking at the figures for Friday, and just on the direct side of the business, when we finished September, over 320 small businesses signed up with Toople in just the month of September. In August, which is a very, very slow month in terms of everybody's on holiday, 302 businesses signed up just on the direct side of the business. And you can see that on the wholesale side of the business, in terms of customers joining, the same amount of orders are being provisioned on the wholesale side of the business. So the business is in a really good place, in a really good shape, and is now a well-capitalized business through to cash flow generation. The market opportunity, if I can bring up the right graph here, and this is, you've got to invest in a company that says, where is the market? And it's actually not coming up. There's a chart on here that should come up. Remember I said to you that there are 5.4 million SMEs in the UK. These are 5.4 million businesses that have less than 50 employees. Guess who's the largest market share? Guess who owns the largest chunk of that market? BT have got 49% of that market. Why? Simply through lethargy, through know nothing different. BT are now completely compromised with their consumer division versus their business division. They can't work out whether content and sport is their priority, and they're trying to tie businesses into taking BT Sport. Well, why does a business want to take BT Sport? A small business wants to take BT broadband that connects to his PDQ machine or his EPOS terminal in his shop so he can take his credit cards and top his electricity and gas up for his customers. They're completely compromised. There is a huge regulatory review that is out there now with Ofcom driving it, because believe it or not, our broadband speeds as an average in this country are below Romania, Lithuania, Poland. Yes, exactly. It's where we are based on an old copper network is just embarrassing, you know, from a telecoms point of view. So what Ofcom have basically said to BT is that by 2025, you must have shut down the old copper network. They will stop taking orders from 2020. What that means is all of those old telephone systems that are out there, all of those ISDN circuits that are in there, of which there are millions and millions in the UK, have to find an alternative source of supply between 2020 and 2025. I would argue that the opportunity for Toople is massive. We have built Toople on a next generation platform. So everything we do, whether it's super fast broadband, whether it's 4G, 5G SIMs, whether it's our cloud-based telephony platform where we've chosen Broadsoft to deliver that, Broadsoft being the biggest global VoIP platform in the world. You know, we are well placed to take advantage of that market. We're already seeing, and you'll see some of my comments in the contract wins, that customers are now starting to proactively move ahead of the changes and ahead of the shutdowns. I think it's a significant opportunity for Toople and others, and I think that it's going to cause BT a significant load of indigestion. I think BT's focus through the regulator is going to come on to say, run the network, invest in the network properly, open up the network so other people can engineer to the network and lay fibre in the ground and lay fibre to the premise. At the moment, if I talk to you about fibre broadband, believe it or not, that's not fibre to your front door. That's fibre to the cabinet, which is probably about a mile or two down the road. It's unacceptable that you can't get fibre to your office or to your home. The opportunities for growth are significant, both through organic, of which we're demonstrating. I want to do more than the 300 customers in September. In October, we will do more. As I've said to you, coming in here today, 22 plus just from Facebook. You know, there is over 5 million e-shots that go out, all GDPR compliant every single month. Our sales team that we brought in-house in December last year is now operating at about £150,000 less per year in overheads and converting over 50% of all the opportunities that are coming into the business. So I think we're in a good place, and I know you'll want me to wind up quite quickly now, which is probably why they put me on first. We have got a competitive advantage. You know, we are correcting the price of telecoms out in the market. We will never be the cheapest. This is not a race to the bottom. This is, if you give me your SIM card that's on Vodafone or O2, I'll make you one promise. It'll be $9.99 a month for the full 24 months or 36 months that you sign a contract. And for your $9.99 a month, you'll get unlimited calls, unlimited texts, and 5 gig of data for $9.99 a month. That's one hell of a deal, but I still make 35% margin on it. Yeah, and that's what the Toople promise is all about. The price that the small business pay on month 1 is the price that they'll pay on month 24 or month 36. We will not put our prices up. We'll make a margin and we'll make a return because we have to make a return for our shareholders. But we will absolutely put the customer first in everything we do. That's underpinned by Trustpilot. So Trustpilot is like a FIFO or like a TripAdvisor for businesses. So our customers can go on and independently review the service that they get from Toople. As of last night, we were scoring 9 out of 10. When we started and listed on Trustpilot over a year ago, we started on about 7.6, 7.9 out of 10. In my view, not good enough, but it's a comparison to the market, BT 0.5 out of 10. You can see how they look after their customers. Why is this important? Well, this is important because what this will do is this will shape what happens to the customer when he gets to the end of his contract. Is the customer waiting to leave you, or is the customer buying more and more services from you and wants to recontract again? Actually, I don't think we'll get to a point where customers have to recontract with us because they want to stay with Toople. And the interesting statistic for August and for September's trading is when I look at the orders that have come through, over 20% of our orders in both of those months came from existing customers. So you want to invest in something, but you want to invest in something that you know is secure, and you want to invest in something where the revenue is there and is future trackable. And that's what we are as Toople, as a real business. Now, there are a couple more slides. We'll be able to print them off and get you some appendices, but I'm being told now really to go to Q&A, I think.
Thank you very much, Andy. Cheers. Do we have any questions at all?
Hi, Andy. You touched at the end there on what I would call retention. You spoke about 20% of your August and September orders coming from existing customers. I'm interested in understanding from you what the retention figure is. So those customers that signed up 18 months or a year or 2 years ago and are now renewing, what percentage of them renew? That's the first point. And point B of that is, do they renew at the same price, a lower price? Do they take more product from you? What's your retention figures, and is it customer growth from each customer that retains?
Okay, so let's talk about the industry acronym that people relate to in telecoms is churn. The average churn in the market across those players there on a monthly basis is about anywhere between 1.5 and 1.7% of their customer base churn on a monthly basis. If we look at somebody like Toople, they have a whole strategy that revolves around, we'll buy a customer at the full 2-year gross margin that we will make, and at the end of that 24-month or 18-month period, whatever their contract is, then we know we're going to lose between 1.5 and 1.7%. The Toople figure, as of the end of August, is the latest figure that I've got for customers leaving us on a monthly basis, is about 0.3%. Now, those are particular customers that are not leaving us because we've done anything wrong. They've usually gone out of business. So one of the risks is when you're trading in the sub 50 employee market and you're right down at what I call that micro SME end of the market, then some businesses make it, some businesses don't make it. So that's where our churn figure is. Should I be stood here and saying that's exceptional and brilliant? No, because we're a 2-year-old business. So ask me that question in 2 years' time, and as long as my figure is below 1%, I think we'll have world-class churn. What the Trustpilot scores, which are truly independent, suggest is that we're on the right track and we're giving customers the right kind of experience. I could connect more customers and put more customers through the system tomorrow, but there's a balance between growth and scale versus making sure we still are underpinned by a great score. There's a customer phoned me on Friday. He said, we've gone from 55 stores, he said, to 68 stores with you. He said, and why didn't I find Toople sooner? He said, it's absolutely fantastic. I think they're saving about £1,000 a month through Toople. We're still making 30% gross margin on them. But more importantly to him is that when he opens a new store on his new store opening programs, our team makes sure that he's trading from day one when that store opens. So if for some reason our friends at BT Openreach don't deliver broadband on time, God forbid that they ever did it on time, our team will make sure that there's a 4G router in store live, and it doesn't matter whether it's on O2, whether it's on Vodafone, all his EPOS terminals, all his credit card terminals are all plugged into that 4G router. He never thinks about his telecoms anymore. We've taken that headache away from him. And that's just one example of many. I'd invite you all to look at the Trustpilot site and just put into Google Trustpilot scores Toople, and you'll see it. And you'll see the bad ones as well as the good ones. There are bad ones on there. There's areas where sometimes things are out of our hands with our friends at OpenReach, but hopefully what you will always see is if we get a 1-star review on there or a 2-star review, you'll see proactive responses from the Toople team, where we're, when it goes wrong, it's more about what you do when it goes wrong. Does that answer your question, Kevin?
You had a question?
Actually, I've got a concern and a comment. First of all, a year ago, I purchased a Note 8, and I got a scheme with, who was it now? I've forgotten who I got it with. But I got a scheme with a SIM, £10, unlimited text, unlimited voice, and 4 gigabytes of data. So your scheme at £9.99 is only a penny cheaper, and I don't see that that's an advantage. That's my comment. My concern is that your software comes from Poland, and obviously with Brexit happening, we have a difficulty. We do not know what the consequences will be, and if there are security concerns within Europe, that software going outside Europe may not be allowed. How do you get updates to your software?
So let me answer the first question, which is your obviously fantastic procurement ability on a mobile SIM. So the first question is, as I said, we will never be the cheapest in the market. The price differential between buying as a consumer and buying as a business, there is a difference between that. giffgaff do a fantastic job for the consumer market. As an example there, 2 years ago, we were selling at £9.99 unlimited calls, unlimited texts, and 2 gig of data. And this goes back to Kevin's original point. Actually, all of those customers 12 months ago that bought that tariff have now been uplifted free of charge to 5 gig of data. So I believe that we're delivering extreme value to our customer base. We're not asking our customer base to recontract, and that's why you get the scores that you get on there. Our software platform is not built in Poland. Our software platform was actually built in the UK. It just happens to be that the main architect for that software platform were a team of Polish people, and from a point of view of a Polish developer, by the time I convert it back from zloty which is the Polish currency, to UK, cost me £1,000 a month. It's got complete disaster recovery both in Poland and back to the UK through various data centres, and actually 2 out of the 4 of the team spend more time in the UK than they do in Poland. But I have the luxury of obviously paying £1,000 a month as opposed to the going rate for a software developer in this country, which is £5,000 to £6,000 a month. So that's the only decision. Am I comfortable with our GDPR compliance on the platform? Am I comfortable with our disaster recovery? We don't deliberately hold customer details in terms of credit card details on that platform. Am I comfortable with it? As comfortable as anybody can be. Am I concerned about Brexit? Not particularly concerned about Brexit. I won't air my political views on it, but I think for Toople, Brexit offers significant opportunity for growth, because I think it will be a period of instability. It will be a period of uncertainty for the economy. And in that time, Toople will do well because everything we do is fixed price. And I think businesses will respond to that.
Andy Hollingsworth, thank you.